Have you ever noticed how some men can say the simplest words, and suddenly a woman can't stop thinking about them? It's not their looks. It's not their money. It's not even their charm. It's something invisible. Something most men never learn to understand, because those words felt different. They carried weight, depth. They weren't spoken to impress. They were spoken with presence. They weren't random compliments. They were psychological keys that quietly unlocked a woman's imagination. You see, most men compliment to gain approval. They say, "You're beautiful," hoping for a smile. They say, "You're amazing," hoping for validation. But a Stoic man? He doesn't speak to gain approval. He speaks to express awareness. And that small difference changes everything. Because women don't crave flattery, they crave recognition. They crave to be seen beyond their surface, beyond the pretty face or the outfit. They crave to be understood emotionally, intellectually, spiritually. A woman doesn't fantasize about a man who praises her beauty. She fantasizes about a man who can read her energy, who can touch her mind before he ever touches her body, who can speak a single sentence that feels like a mirror to her soul. And that's what separates a man she forgets from a man she dreams about. See, attraction isn't built through compliments that inflate the ego. It's built through words that awaken emotion. It's built when a woman feels your awareness piercing through the noise of every shallow man who's tried to win her before. It's built when she realizes you're different, that your attention carries silence, your words carry meaning, and your presence carries calm. Because the truth is, women don't remember what you said, so they remember how your words made them feel. And when you speak from a place of stillness, she feels that stillness. When you speak from grounded awareness, she feels safe. And when you speak with subtle dominance, not force but confidence, she starts to imagine what it would feel like to surrender to that energy. That's why today, I'm going to reveal the 3 compliments that make a woman fantasize about you all night. Not because they're manipulative tricks, but because they're rare, because they reflect what most men have lost: awareness, presence, and masculine composure. Once you master these 3, you'll never need pickup lines, cheap validation, or fake charm again. You'll speak less, but every word will echo. You'll look less, but every glance will leave a mark, and she'll feel your presence long after you've walked away. So let's begin, because the way you speak can make the difference between being forgotten and being the man she can't stop thinking about. 1, you have a calm energy, and it's rare. It sounds simple, right? But beneath those 6 words lies an entire world of power. When you say this, you're not complimenting her looks, her body, or her outfit. You're complimenting something internal, something energetic, and that's where true attraction begins. Because here's the truth. Every woman is surrounded by men who notice her appearance, but almost no one notices her energy. Most men see a woman and instantly go into performance mode, trying to impress, joke, or prove something. But when you observe her calmly, without trying to win her over, and then say, "You have a calm energy," it's rare. You've flipped the script. You've positioned yourself as an observer, not a seeker. This triggers something ancient in her psychology. You become the judge of value, not the one chasing it. And when she feels that calm, masculine presence, the kind that can notice energy instead of appearance, her subconscious mind wakes up. She starts wondering, what does he see in me that others don't? Why does his voice sound so certain when he says that? That curiosity becomes fantasy. And here's the deeper Stoic truth behind it. A calm man isn't calm because life is easy. He's calm because he's learned not to be shaken. That kind of presence radiates safety, mystery, and control. 3 things women crave at a psychological level. I once met a woman named Claire at a cafe in London. She told me the moment she realized she liked her boyfriend wasn't when he complimented her dress or said she was beautiful. It was when he looked at her after a long silence and said, "You have a very calm energy. I like that." She said it made her feel seen, like he wasn't looking at her but into her. She couldn't stop thinking about him afterward. That's the kind of psychological depth you create with this compliment. It's not about praise, it's about perception. So next time you're talking to a woman, don't rush to tell her she's pretty. Observe her energy first. If she's calm, composed, or self-assured, say it. And if she's chaotic, you can still say, "You seem grounded." Even when things are messy, I respect that. It still lands because you're complimenting character, not cosmetics. That's the first compliment. the one that makes her feel understood on a level most men can't reach. 2. You have a dangerous mind, I like that. Now this one hits differently. It's not for every woman, but for the right one, it's electric. See, women are told all their lives to be nice, sweet, agreeable, but inside, every woman has a wild side. A part of her that's curious, intelligent, rebellious, maybe even dark, and most men never acknowledge it. They try to box her into comfort, instead of pulling her into awareness. But when you say, you have a dangerous mind, I like that, you're telling her, I see the fire beneath your calm. You're acknowledging the part of her that most men ignore, the part that makes her real. In female psychology, this triggers a deep emotional mechanism called mirroring desire. When a woman feels a man can see her full range, her innocence and her power, she feels emotionally naked in the best possible way. And when she feels seen, her mind begins to build stories around you. Because a compliment like this isn't about validation, it's about recognition. You're saying, I see the part of you that others are afraid of. Let me tell you a quick story. There was a girl named Olivia in Toronto. Brilliant, confident, always in control. Every man who talked to her played it safe, afraid to challenge her intellect. Then she met someone different, a quiet guy named Ethan. They were debating about philosophy, and she made a sharp argument about human nature. Instead of competing or flattering, he simply said with a slight smile, You have a dangerous mind, Olivia. I like that. She told me later that sentence haunted her for days, not because it was flirtatious, but because it made her feel powerful. She said it made her want to show him more of her mind, more of who she was. That's the magic of this compliment. It doesn't feed her ego. It feeds her soul. It allows her to express her feminine power without judgment. And that creates the kind of connection that lingers long after the conversation ends. And here's the Stoic essence behind it. A true man is not intimidated by a woman's power. He respects it. He doesn't seek to control it, but to stand calmly beside it. That quiet strength is what makes her imagination attached to you, because women don't fantasize about control. They fantasize about surrender. And they can only surrender to a man strong, enough to stand firm in the presence of their chaos. So when you say you have a dangerous mind, I like that. You're not flattering her beauty. You're acknowledging her depth, her fire, her essence. And that, my friend, is unforgettable. 3. There's something about the way you look at the world. It's refreshing. This final compliment doesn't just touch her mind, it enters her heart. Because every woman wants to feel unique, but not in a shallow way. She wants to believe her way of seeing life, her opinions, her humor, her struggles matter to someone. And when you express that awareness, you enter the rare category of men who listen to understand, not listen to respond. See, the female mind is naturally empathic. She's built to feel, to sense, to intuit. So when she meets a man who notices her inner world instead of her outer one, he instantly becomes magnetic. The words, "There's something about the way you look at the world. It's refreshing," tell her. I'm not just seeing your face. I'm seeing your perspective. That's intimacy on an emotional level. Let's go deeper. In psychology, there's a concept called narrative attraction. The idea that women fall for the story they can imagine with you. When you make her feel understood, not just heard, but understood, she subconsciously begins to build a story around you. And that story becomes fantasy. Because when you validate her perception of the world, you give her something most men don't, mental safety. And in that safety, her imagination blooms. I remember a conversation between a man named Daniel and a woman named Emily in New York. They were walking through Central Park talking about childhood dreams. Emily said something small, something no one ever noticed. She said, "Sometimes I think we grow up too fast, and the world stops feeling magical." Daniel paused, looked at her, and said softly, "There's something about the way you look at the world, and it's refreshing." She smiled, not the kind of smile you give to a stranger, but the kind that comes from being seen. Later, she told her friend, "I don't know what it is about him, but I keep thinking about that line." That's the effect this compliment has. It plants you inside her emotional memory. Here's why it works so deeply. Because it's not about appearance, it's about soul recognition. You're saying, I see your inner beauty, your worldview, your sensitivity, your intelligence. And the moment she feels you've looked into her mind instead of her body, she feels safe to desire you. That's when the fantasies start, because fantasy, at its root, isn't about lust. It's about emotional curiosity. It's her mind asking, what would it feel like to be fully seen by him? And that's what makes this third compliment so devastatingly effective. It doesn't create attraction through effort. It creates attraction through presence. The Stoic secret behind all three. Now let's zoom out for a moment. You've learned the three compliments, but here's the truth. None of them mean anything without one sacred ingredient: authentic composure. Because words by themselves are empty. They can either be tools of connection or weapons of manipulation. And the difference isn't in the words, it's in the energy behind them. A Stoic man doesn't compliment to manipulate, he compliments to reflect truth. He doesn't use language to chase attention, he uses it to reveal awareness. His words are not weapons, they're mirrors, showing the world what he truly perceives. He doesn't say what a woman wants to hear, he says what is real. Because in the end, the most powerful compliment is not what you say, it's the energy behind it. When you speak from calm awareness, women feel it in their nervous system. When you're grounded, measured, and unshaken, your words don't sound like attempts, they sound like truth. And truth is magnetic. But when you speak from anxiety, when your tone carries even a hint of neediness or hidden agenda, she feels that too. You might say all the right things, but they'll land empty. Because attraction isn't built through language. It's built through energy coherence. That's why the Stoics believed in mastering inner stillness before outer action, as Marcus Aurelius wrote. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. And in the same way, the depth of her attraction depends upon the quality of your presence. Think about that. Every time you interact with a woman, you're communicating something, not just through words, but through energy. If your energy says, I hope you like me, you've already lost her interest. But if your energy says, I see you, and I'm at peace with whatever happens, you've already separated yourself from 99% of men. Because composure, real quiet, stoic composure, is intoxicating. It tells her, you can't shake me. And that's what pulls her closer. Because deep down, every woman is drawn to a man who remains centered even in the face of beauty, chaos, and temptation. So practice these three compliments not as tactics, but as truths. Don't memorize them. Embodiment is stronger than memorization. Because when your energy is right, even silence becomes seductive. Learn to observe more, react less. Notice her gestures, her tone, the pauses between her words, and respond with grounded awareness. When you compliment, do it slowly. Let it breathe. Make her feel that you mean it. Because when you speak from stillness, every sentence feels sacred. See beyond appearances. Look into her essence. Compliment what others overlook, her calm energy, her sharp intellect, her unique worldview. Let your words be rare but real. And let your eyes communicate the things your mouth doesn't have to. Because that's how you shift from being just another man to being the man she can't stop thinking about. Not because you chased her, not because you flattered her, but because in a world of noise and desperation you stood as the calm center, the one who didn't need to impress, because your presence already spoke louder than words. That's the Stoic secret behind all three compliments. It's not about mastering what to say, it's about mastering who you are when you say it. When your inner world is disciplined, your outer words become divine, and that's when a single sentence from you can echo in her mind, long after you've left the room. Conclusion. Most men believe attraction is built through effort, through showing off, chasing, or constantly trying to prove they're worthy of attention. They buy flowers, send texts, plan elaborate gestures. But deep down, they're driven by fear. Fear of being unseen, fear of being rejected, fear of not being enough. But here's the paradox. The more a man tries to be seen, the more invisible he becomes. Because effort that comes from insecurity always smells of desperation. And a woman can sense that energy long before she even processes your words. The Stoic man understands this truth at his core. He doesn't chase attraction, he radiates it. He knows that real magnetism doesn't come from effort. It comes from energy, from awareness, from restraint, from the quiet certainty that he is enough, with or without her approval. That's what makes him rare. While other men rush to fill the silence with words, the Stoic man understands that silence is his ally. Because silence isn't emptiness, it's space. And in that space, she feels something she doesn't feel with anyone else: peace. Most men make her anxious. They talk too much, react too fast, compliment too eagerly. But the man who can sit across from her, calm and unhurried, gives her a feeling she can't explain, safety mixed with curiosity. And that's the beginning of fascination. So next time you're with a woman, don't rush to fill the silence. Let it breathe. Watch her body language. Listen, not just to her words, but to her tone, her pauses, her eyes. Because women speak with their energy long before they speak with their mouths. Feel her presence. Sense the rhythm of her emotions. And when the moment feels right, when your intuition tells you the energy is open, say something that touches her essence, not her ego. Something that makes her pause, reflect, and feel seen in a way she rarely experiences in this noisy, shallow world. Because here's the secret. Women remember how you make them feel, not what you say. You could forget her birthday, but if you made her feel safe in her chaos, she'll never forget you. You could go days without talking, but if your energy lingers in her mind, she'll still think of you before she sleeps. That's the real art of masculine connection. It's not about performance, it's about presence. When a man carries himself with calm awareness, every word he says carries weight. Every compliment becomes a reflection, not a bribe. And every interaction feels like a slow unveiling, not a desperate chase. You're not giving her lines. You're giving her mirrors. You're showing her the strength, depth, and beauty she's forgotten she had. You're not trying to impress. You're helping her remember. And that's why she can't stop thinking about you. Because the truth is, women don't fantasize about perfect men. They fantasize about men who make them feel understood. Men who have mastered their emotions, who don't flinch in the face of beauty or chaos. Men whose calm doesn't come from indifference, but from discipline. That calm becomes addictive. So remember, your words matter, but your presence matters more. When you compliment, let it come from truth, not strategy. When you speak, let it come from depth, not desire. When you look at her, let your eyes communicate what your lips don't need to. Because the Stoic man's power isn't in how loud he roars. It's in how calmly he observes. He's not moved by every emotion that passes through him, nor is he enslaved by every desire that tempts him. He's free, and freedom is magnetic. When she feels that freedom in you, she doesn't just admire you, she starts to crave you. Not because you're chasing her, but because she feels peace in your presence and passion in your restraint. That's the balance most men never find. So don't rush, don't chase. Just stand firm in your awareness. Be the mirror she didn't know she needed. And watch as she starts to see herself differently. Through your calm, your depth, your composure. Because in that moment, you're not just giving a compliment. You're giving her clarity. You're showing her that attraction doesn't have to be loud, chaotic, or manipulative, and it can be still, quiet, and real. And that's when she'll lie awake at night. Not because of what you said, but because of how you made her feel. Safe, seen, and deeply desired. And with that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.